Hello, everybody. Everybody, welcome to Colover Podcast. This time in English, and we have still named it number 8 for whatever reason. Do you think, by the way, we should call it number 1 or number 8 since it's in English? What
To
do you
be
think?
honest, I don't give a shit. Sorry for the language, but it
We're
doesn't
start
really matter.
we're starting out transparently. All right.
Transparently, yeah.
All right. So, for those that are watching for the first time, we're going to be talking today about uh, politics, conspiracies, and war topics. But we're going to be going through different ones through X and also YouTube. We have been actually, the funny thing I think that we should mention, we have a podcast on the topics that are really prevalent today for Bulgaria, at least in the European Union. And we had videos on this about more than a year ago,
Yes.
discussing the euro, the digital euro, discussing how people take it.
CBDCs,
Yeah.
banking, and so on.
Yes, how it would affect people. Also, how they might impose it on different countries, or well, I mean, um, vote for it in a democratic way.
True.
Specifically, for instance, by rejecting referendums in countries. So, what do you actually think about that? I mean, um, how many times has a single country, if we look at Bulgaria, but we can look at others as well, how many times has a single country, for instance, Romania as well, um, gone through actually ignoring its own constitution in Europe specifically?
To
I
be
feel like
honest,
it's more than 10 times in the past 5 years,
um,
if we look at voting.
it's very difficult to say, really. But yes, I have really no idea how many times. But since COVID, up until now, up until today, there's been plenty of controversy and controversial decisions, and um, I feel like a year ago when we made the video and we discussed it for about 2 hours, and we've talked plenty on the topic, like plenty. We might do the same now, I guess, but we did delve in quite a lot of details about how the political system controls the masses, the brainwashing that's happening in real time, about the vaccines and so on. And by the way, nowadays
Okay,
when
we
you
again
look,
just got shadow banned. Thank you.
yeah, I
Just
mean,
by
with
mentioning that.
I, you know how it is, you know how it is. But well, you asked. Why did you ask?
I don't know, like stop using keywords, man. You know the algorithm. It's
Well,
not gonna work
okay.
out now.
So let's say, whenever we talked about the Jews, you know, we talked about how they're trying to control us, to not only control us physically by preventing us from traveling and so on, but they also try to control us, to mind control us, to believe certain things. And by the way, speaking on
What
that,
are you talking about? Wait, what?
bro, last week I've seen a book written by George Soros, and this book is it's written by him, and it's extremely interesting. Honestly, I really have to read about it. I have to read that book, and let me check it out. It's actually about mind control, the book itself. George Soros book on, let's say, books.
Is that book what you mean by? I don't even like. What do you mean when we spoke about the Jews controlling us? What the fuck? What are
Yeah,
you even
because
talking about?
yes, I connected the two things because he mentioned, he's talking in his book about how, uh, if you create an illusion big enough and you talk about that illusion over and over again on different channels, on not like on different communication channels, on different layers within the society, when you start from the very top of the society to the very bottom, on every layer of society you talk about it, you materialize that illusion and you create it you make it real, basically. So you can convince that a man is a woman and a woman is a man, for example. But he is talking in the context of finance. He's talking in the context of how you can materialize your vision through basically manipulation, social engineering, and in this way you can manipulate the markets and create a lot of profit. And he's talking about it as if it is his own invention, and he firmly believes in that. So um, I
But what
mentioned
does it have to do? Yeah.
yeah, everything,
What do you mean?
everything, because since COVID up until today, they try to sell you and convince you on mm, on plenty of topics, dozens
Who?
of topics. The media, but all of the media, like in general, not just in the US, not just in Europe, but like worldwide. The entire world is trying to convince you that, for example, wait, you don't need freer markets, you need digital currency. You don't need to research because we know better. You don't need to do your research on vaccines. You don't need to do your research on biological studies. You don't need to read about that because we know better. You don't need to learn how the financial system works, what alternatives there are, and how those choices that are currently, let's say, voted for in the European Union will affect you in the long run. You don't have to think about that. It's our job to think about that,
But
not you.
why are we generalizing that with any group, regardless if it's Jews or I don't know, Scandinavians or whatever? Like what? Every
What do you mean
populace.
generalizing?
So this is or it's not just like it's a nationality but a race as well, and I feel like generalizing is not gonna assist in anything, just like and regardless if it's Palestinians or Americans or Russians, you know what I mean? Because majority of people that live in any country or are a part of any group, they have absolutely nothing in common with what we would have as a problem from the decision makers, let's say, of specific political issues. They're just like
Okay.
normal people that want to live. They don't want to uh, as far as I've seen, I haven't seen any issues from a lot of these people.
Yes. Oh, wait. I actually got disconnected.
Hmm.
Give me a second. Can you say something?
Yeah. Test 1 2 3.
Yeah, kind
And
of.
I'm saying this because I actually um, have discussed also, just talked and met also like Jews and different people from other countries and super
But I
normal
was
people.
talking about. I didn't mention. I didn't mention neither of those. Let's say type of people. Why are you talking about them? What do they have in connection with what I'm
No, you
talking
did mention it in the beginning and you said that you're connecting the book to them when I asked you.
to? What to who I'm talking about? George Soros.
Yeah, but that was like the topic. And then you said that you connect the Jews to the book.
No, the topic about Jews. I
You need
wasn't
to
talking
watch
about
the
Jews,
you need
bro.
to watch the VOD
What
on
Jews? I
my
wasn't talking
question.
about.
You
What's
need
your
to watch the
question?
VOD on my question because you
You
said
was
Jews and I was
you.
like, what do you mean? And
I
then you
didn't.
said I
I
connected the
didn't
book.
say Jews, bro. You probably you heard that, but I didn't say that. I said juice, like juice, bro. I'm talking about vaccines. So I'm talking about you said I should talk about keywords, and I said juice. Not juice, bro.
I really got super confused, I have to tell you.
Bro,
I really got super confused because the whole time I was thinking, when did we speak about Jews?
to be honest,
Because you said when me and you spoke about the Jews, and that's why I was like this. I was like,
I
what?
said juice.
And then I was asking you, what do you mean by Jews? Because when did we actually speak about them? Like I don't even remember when we. And then you started speaking about the book and how like it's this and that manipulated.
No,
I
bro,
was like,
no.
what is
Now,
going on?
now that I have clarified. Do you understand how where I'm going with
Should
what
we
I just said?
we shouldn't reset the stream, should we? This is
No,
like insane.
fuck that.
Um,
I to be honest, just because you didn't heard me correctly, I haven't really said anything wrong. So
it's okay,
uh
no problem.
so basically now do you understand what I was talking about? The book, the
Yes, 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 yes,
manipulation, the
yes.
multiple
About
types of
the
social
juice,
engineering.
as in the vaccine, is what you mean when you say
Yeah,
juice.
so I will. If you take the vaccine, it's just a single example, which is a fucking huge example because people easily forget, and they shouldn't. They shouldn't forget how they were forced into exile, literally forced. They shouldn't forget how their banking system forbid them from using their cards in specific places, specific time of the day, and they shouldn't forget how if they protested any type of decision concerning that specific period, they were risking actually their bank to refuse them services. So
Mhm.
they shouldn't forget that. Also, um, on every major, let's say, by saying major topic, I mean a controversial decision that's affecting a large amount of people,
Mhm.
and they have no say in it, absolutely no say in it, and they feed you with the bullshit that um yes, if you vote, then your voice will be heard and those people will represent you and so on and so on. And it's so naive on so many levels, and it leaves really bad taste in your mouth. For example, let's forget about for a bit about COVID and all that, and just look at what's happening right now. Did you know that Romania, they just finished electing their new president?
Yes, and it wasn't the one that was chosen previously, right?
He was banned,
Yeah, I know.
and before being banned, they did a study, not study, but how do you say that when they ask the populace who's your most favorite candidate?
Uh, a vote, public
Uh,
vote.
yeah, public vote, but before the actual vote for president, right? So
Yeah,
it's it
no,
it has no
unofficial, unofficial.
unofficial. Yeah, it has no. It's like I forgot the fucking word. Anyway, you get it. So they asked them, and it was like mind-blowingly. Um, uh, it wasn't even. It wasn't even close.
Hmm.
This guy was like winning by far, and they banned him. They just did, and they just did a second election without him, and now their puppet is selected. And you know, what type of democracy are we talking about? What we are supposed to um we're supposed to be the free world, you know. That's the type of marketing that we have been telling the rest of the world, not ourselves, of course. And by saying that, I mean like our political leaders in Europe specifically have been criticizing the rest of the world, the Middle East, the Far East, the close East, even let's say Turkey, let's say Israel, let's say other countries in Africa
But
as well.
this has always been the case. It's just that when you have a representative, individual, or a group that actually stems too far away from the organization or the political organization that holds the country, that's when it becomes visible. But it's not something new. Just like with this guy, it's visible now because there was a high contrast. It was kind of like blatantly obvious that they don't want him in power, and it was either not calculated, or you know what, maybe it was done in a way to see how the public would react. You never know, to say, hey, are these guys that fucking dumb? Like, let's just
I
test
feel
them.
like I feel like uh, Trump kind of he was so disruptive to a lot of agencies
Mm-hmm.
And thank goodness for that, because a lot of the majority of the agencies that he disrupted had a lot of power, and they still do, by the way. They are really powerful. However, him sabotaging them to an extent slowed them down. And I feel that this slowdown affected the foreign policy uh, of, let's say, the West, in specific Eastern countries, and it it sabotaged their effort on the Western front. Let's Eastern front, actually, not Western. Sorry, because if you look at the Balkans, and then not actually the Balkans, but the whole of Eastern Europe, from the most northern side up to the most southern side, you see that we are kind of a buffer zone between Russia and Turkey, between Russia, Turkey, and Europe. We're like the buffer zone.
Um,
And the policy, the politics, and everything that has been affecting our lives for so long has been basically manifested many years ago.
I feel like, I mean, you're right, but I feel like it's much smaller than what we expect, not because of something else, but I feel like because a lot of these people only play for themselves and they're quite disorganized, greedy, and slow.
Who are you talking about? Like
Internal
powerful
political
people.
leaders, internal
Okay,
political
yeah,
leaders that hold
that's
different,
true.
I feel like they start doing something, they get a quick deal, they get some benefit out of it, the other guy gets something, and then they stop, or they self sabotage, or like what? I mean, they really cannot handle anything. I feel like.
Yes, but in general, if we look, if we think critically and look critically at what a country is, of what a real country, not like Bulgaria. I'm talking about a real country that has real politics, that has real influence on the world. Let's say America.
Mm-hmm.
America is basically, as a country, has invested so much money into the military industrial complex because it's the iron fist of the corporations, basically. So um, you influence, just by security posture, different countries and different, let's say, decisions in different countries, just by sheer power, just because you're kind of scary. You don't want to mess with USA, right? So you influence certain decisions in certain countries, and then those countries open their markets to large corporations in the US. And you can see that there are plenty of evidence for that. Like, it's not something that I'm so smart to think about it. It's just pure facts.
Mm-hmm.
Since 1972, 1973, there's been many, um, let's say, American correspondents proving that they have corporate interest in Bulgaria leaving, let's say, the energy industry in shambles, so that American corporations can come in and take advantage on that, and make profits. And not just the energy industry, many other industries as well, minerals and so on. So you've got that happening, and it has been happening for the last 60 years, and it
Mm-hmm.
was planned 20 to 30 years before the fall of the socialism in Bulgaria. It was something that has been planned, discussed between politicians. You can see the name of Hillary Clinton thrown left and right in different emails. So
Mm.
uh, so yeah, basically, I feel like we are very small, and we often think of ourselves as being insignificant, which is to an extent true in terms of power, in terms of what really matters, if we really matter as a country.
But
But yeah, yeah,
sorry to interrupt you, but who really cares about this?
exactly. Nobody,
Why?
because because we are not that big to care for,
I
let's say.
feel in general, in most countries, it's because for the past 4 years approximately, people, at least in Europe, have been getting fucked up the ass financially.
Mm.
And
Okay.
before that, we still didn't care as much, but also it wasn't as drastic. So it wasn't as big of a problem. I mean, you wouldn't have a war next to you, and you wouldn't have
Mm.
idiots. They would be stealing
Mm.
money from buildings, maybe your pension fund as well, but that's old school. So people cannot pay anything. I mean, that old saying, like in the past, where like you kind of like sell your soul to the devil for money, like that's the financial system that you remember that me and you had discussions like this when we were teenagers, when we were like super rebellious, and we would
Mm.
like go with like our dreams and do this and that and whatever.
Yeah.
And we would be like, man, the financial system is hell, is the worst thing. But we wouldn't
And we
even feel it. Like, we wouldn't feel it on our pocket
yeah,
as much. Not as much. Because, I mean, for you to feel something, you have to have it to lose it. And
exactly. Yeah.
yeah. And even back then, it was a little bit at least balanced. But kind of, I don't know like how we would see it, but we would see where it's going. And we would still like maybe like discuss it as if, maybe yes, maybe not. And now it's like, super visible that we were right, even if it was
Yeah.
just like a hunch. It's not like we're smart. It's maybe just a hunch, but it wasn't just us. Other people that had a bit of a rebellious spirit would think, yeah, but kind of like the end goal of a financial system
you
is
can
kind of doing
you
to
could
imprison
have
you.
you could have thought about many different arguments, and you could in back in the days you could still have a discussion on, okay, but what if,
Yeah.
and so on, but right now it's more like, dude, it's right in the
Right now,
open.
if you have a war, there's a good
Yeah.
chance you will still go to work. It's not even a joke.
Yeah, it's not.
And you know what? It's also because society is brainwashed to such an extent that if you have a war and you go to the shop, to your local shopkeeper or whatever it is, to get to get bread and
Mm.
cheese, they would tell you like 50-50. They would say, man, you still have to pay me. They wouldn't give
Yeah.
you anything.
Yeah, because he paid for that. Yeah.
There's no
It's
nationality, like this, like this is the actual
Oh,
separation of
yes, of
nations.
course. There's no nationality, and like, I mean, uh, I don't think this is necessarily bad, but at the same time, I understand what you're saying.
It is bad because
Yes, but this person has also worked his ass off to create this business and to have something to sell to you.
the second people around him don't have anything, he would not have anything as well. And we're talking like,
Yeah,
just imagine at
yeah.
war or some kind of a big, I don't know, national catastrophe. It's
Mm.
bad to not have nationality, same as it's bad to not have family when your car breaks down.
Well,
It's like being
we
able
shouldn't
to.
act we shouldn't act as if this hasn't really happened. Like in 2008, 1998, when the Great Depression in Bulgaria hit, like people have been saying, whenever you get your daily salary, you would hurry to the shop and try to buy what the fuck ever, because in a couple of hours you wouldn't even be able to afford whatever you could
Mhm.
like a couple minutes ago. The inflation was like raising by the hundreds every day. So basically a lot of people didn't have the money to afford basic human needs like food,
Mm.
and people were like giving away, like, okay, I owe you that amount of money, and but like people were giving away food for nothing, and it was as is.
But they went through it, right? And
Yeah,
people were giving away food, as you said.
yeah, they were giving away. They had
Mm.
no option, to be honest. Everybody
Right
was
now,
going to
you would
die
not
from
have a
hunger.
lot of that, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, hopefully, I really hope that we wouldn't get to find out.
I mean, I agree, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I'm just saying because Like this is kind of like the values that you get from such a system, and every system has plus and minus. And if you have a strong financial system like capitalism, okay,
Mm.
like the plus is like literally that you can be an individual, but you really quickly find out what the fuck an individual is when you get a big problem. And it's pretty close to nothing, pretty close to zero. And money doesn't mean anything if you don't have like a real abundance. And a lot of people don't have abundance. And even if they have abundance, they don't have the status.
99%, if we have to be exact.
Yes, they don't have the status or the distance from themselves to the others to escape the others as well. Like that's why,
Yeah,
for instance, civil wars are so dangerous.
you cannot really isolate yourself.
Yeah. So um, it's a big net negative in general in the long
Mm.
run. Like like those um, strategic games like
Yep.
Warhammer or like
And do you think
Mhm.
do you think that we are going in that trajectory?
We're already
I-
there. What do you mean? People hate each
Well,
other in most cases. They have zero trust about a lot of stuff. The amount of trust that you get up front, which is prejudice, typically shows the alignment of society with themselves.
so you think that society is falling, it's disintegrating?
Yes, and I believe when you look at different events or charitable events or businesses, small businesses, how they work, and the churn of people, including young people, you would see that the average churn right now is less than 1 year. They circle around constantly. They come in, they go out. They come in, they go out. They come in, they go out. This is the economy, right? Uh, if you look at the activity in each sector, and I'm giving this as an example because I didn't want to speak only about charitable events, like, oh, okay, who goes to help? Well, even in
Mm.
business, small business to medium business, you have really high churn, which is not just money. It comes from like kind of how the system has trained people, but it goes into the direction eventually of, okay, so people like really don't tolerate each other anymore and cannot communicate in between each other. Because for you to be young or old and have high churn in a business, it means you really don't care about anything. Or you're super emotional. Both of those are pretty bad. And that's coming from somewhere. And for that to be happening constantly, it's a big problem. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's more than in the past. We've done a lot of work, me and you. Uh, it's 100% more than in the past. Much more. Um, a lot of people, older people that have a business, because even if they sold shoes from 2011 up until now, by the way, they would be a millionaire. But on the streets, if they
Mm.
polish shoes, they would be a millionaire. That's like the amount of growth the economies have seen. They typically say, "Wow, those young ones, those Gen Z, those, they have such high expectations. They don't want to do anything and get super high." I mean, maybe you can say that, but that's not the main thing. Like they don't respect the other guy to have such levels of expectations or asks, and also the other guy cannot build any respect for him to have such issues. And this is multiple different industries. Do you get me? It's the same as a family or a business negotiation. When you get to that point, having a healthy family or closing a good deal for both parties becomes almost impossible. The
Yeah.
only way to fix a family like this is to actually go through something really tragic, somebody dies, or they separate. And
Yes,
and
something that
yeah,
should. Yep.
yeah.
You will
And
say
in the
so.
business deal, it's over. Like they lose, both don't have a deal. One guy goes left, one guy goes right, and then after 2 years they realize they lost money. That's kind of it.
In Ukraine, not Ukraine, actually Donbass. Whenever Ukraine attacked Donbass, Crimea and Donbass as well, the people from Donbass. So there was a Bulgarian journalist that went there, and she was interviewing normal people on the street. Um, the majority of which were like all of those actually was like very very normal people, everyday people. Some old, some young, and everybody was saying the same thing. Like the the people were like the society was disintegrating, and whenever that tragedy occurred and whenever they got attacked by Ukraine, by the Ukrainian army, everybody suddenly united. And for example, you can see the effect it had, that union it had on their everyday life. For example, when you go on the street, and you would know that perfectly well because you live in Sofia.
Hmm.
In Sofia, when you take a stroll, when you take a walk, or you go on a run for a run, all the um, pedestrian walks, the pedestrian paths, are like broken, beaten up, kind of trashy, So there's plenty of small issues in the quality of life because people neglect things, especially in our country. Everything is neglected. But whenever that situation happened in Crimea and in Lugansk and in Donbass, suddenly people started paying attention to those things. Suddenly the walks were fine. Like they fixed the roads, they fixed the parks, they fixed the small things. They started planting uh, uh, everywhere uh, plants and roses, let's say. And they started paying attention to the small things that make your quality of life good or better, at least, to feel better in your own city, to feel better in your own community. And people were like, and people were saying that everybody felt really nationalistic, but they translated that nationalism not into hate, but more like, I love my community, so uh, I'm actually doing more than expected. I'm trying to be more helpful. I'm trying to be more um um I forgot the word, but I'm basically trying to be better version of myself, like being more gentleman like, let's say,
Hmm.
just more community guy, everybody. And I felt so sad and so sorry that you have to experience bombs falling in your neighborhood, quite literally, and normal civilian people dying on the street from bombs, mines, so that you can start feeling all of that, so that you can begin uh, thinking in that direction, to remind yourself what really matters, to remind yourself that you're not a fucking animal, and you do need to feel appreciated. You do need to care about your community and everything
But
else.
but you know what? To a certain extent, like we are kind of like animals.
We are animals. Like being an animal is not an insult, but I meant it as an insult, to be honest.
Yes, I get what you mean. No, because I mean the emotions that people exhibit, even in like random day to day life, we call it childish, but it's just like it's like overall just impulsive, and this is including like elderly people.
I love what Joe Rogan says uh, about that specifically, and he said on one or two on on the thousands of podcasts he had, that he sees people um as grown grown kids,
Yeah,
basically, and being grown doesn't really translate into acting as your age. You're still the same child. You're still the same kid that used to be, small and childish. And um, and just because you've grown your bones, your structure, your body, doesn't mean that parts of those behaviors are not like coming back to you, not being resurrected, so to say.
I feel like also society has stopped kind of discussing those topics outright with also growing youth.
And what do you
Uh,
think that is? Is it because it's more relevant to talk about our how we feel about our gender?
Maybe. I feel like it's just like in general that people are softer on that part, and they feel like there's just gonna be a problem.
Do you feel um just a couple of years ago, if somebody was like being really pro community and was talking out loud about being more open to society, trying to be more helpful, trying to be better, I feel like a lot of people would have uh, said that you're a fascist.
Me?
Not you specifically, but if you say those things out loud, there would be a lot of people who would call you fascist. And
Wh-
probably there still are, but they're
Which
more quiet
specific
now.
things? Like which one? Paying
Let's
attention
say,
to the
yeah,
youth?
everything that yeah, paying attention to the youth, but like
I'm not sure.
in specific, yes, because even today, paying attention to the youth to you means one thing, and paying attention to the youth to other people means another thing.
Yeah, what I mean is like, for instance, like just before the podcast, like in most nights I went out to run because that's when I have time, and on Panchereu Lake, on the lake,
Yeah,
there were a lot of people, young people, noisy, this and that, with some bikes, with some cars,
we've
and
also been noisy.
yeah, when we were, yeah, like for sure, I would say. I cannot say that we were definitely like the role models, but I would give them a couple of words, at least like regarding how they drive around the lake. It's like a walking zone, I think it's important. And a couple of other things. And actually, like in most cases, it's always been okay. But I've never seen anybody taking any accountability like from elderly people. Actually, like zero, like literally zero. I'm not like trying to blame. Maybe they do it, but I have not seen it, even if they are around me. And
Yes.
I don't understand by looking at their eyes if it's because they don't care, or
Mm.
they are scared, or or they care too much about something else and they're blind. I don't know, or maybe it's all of the above. I don't get it.
It's probably all of the above and even more. But I've noticed the same. Like, I don't know, at some point being old also, I don't know, it changes you. It changes you a lot,
But
and you
but brother,
forget
that's
what.
the foundation of everything. The foundation of a forest is the oldest trees. The foundation
Yes,
of a pack is
true.
the oldest wolf. The foundation of a fish, squirrel, or whatever it was, it's the
Mm,
biggest fish.
true, true.
If you don't have that, you have zero hierarchy and respect in the group.
But why do you think why do you think that Bulgaria or any country for that matter is in such a position? Because I'm pretty sure that the elderly in other places are very similar, very similar. Not probably
There's probably
that.
something that we don't understand.
There's,
I'm sorry, yeah.
eh, yeah, exactly. There's probably something we don't understand in where they're coming from
Yeah.
and what exactly affected their mindset,
You
the
know,
way they think.
maybe I'll give, like, this is me
Maybe
thinking out
we
loud.
are privileged. Maybe we've been privileged to come to understand those things. Maybe this is some type of privilege.
Oh, let me give you an example and tell me if you think I'm thinking right. If you take a grandpa or grand grandpa,
Hmm.
he would go through wars,
Yeah,
and
like my grandpa.
yes, and he would go into a war,
Yeah.
and he would physically see, even if the outcome of the battle doesn't change, how some like the terrain changes.
Mm.
Like something would happen around him, or he would do something, and even if he doesn't do it, he would go through it, and he
Yes.
would see how things change. Me and you, we would also see how things change, but not because of wars, mostly probably because of technology
True.
and freedom. I can admit, even if we're against what's happening now, and it's like, whoa, where's my freedom? It's probably because we had freedom. So we would have
That's
technology
the
and
type of
freedom.
privilege I was talking about. Yes.
Yes, we would have for sure in today's, even right now
I
as
can
well.
give an example. By the
But
way.
just to finish my thought, because
Yes,
I'm
I'm
gonna lose
sorry.
it. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes,
So
sorry.
we would have freedom and technology. So we would kind of like have this uh, golden tiny space where it's like whoa, like so much new stuff.
Yeah.
And probably those elderly people that were looking at 45 to 65, let's say, so let's say, maybe they were in not all countries, but let's say in our country and maybe neighboring, they were in a place where nothing really changed, just like some political structure and leaders that took decades, and then they went into, as you said, some inflation. Whatever they achieved went by, and it's like life went by,
Yeah, and the only
you know.
way for them to really understand what the fuck is happening is the weekly or
The
monthly
TV, yeah,
newspaper.
and the newspaper,
Newspaper, bro.
yeah, yeah. And we have, in a span of 10 years, we went from headphones to walking, talking TVs in the hands that have infinite knowledge and
Infinite
information,
knowledge, yes.
you know?
Mm.
So probably that's a part of it. I'm just speculating, but probably, living like 50 years like this or 60, you get to a point where, well, whatever I do, it doesn't even matter. I
I
mean,
don't want to
you know?
be arrogant, uh, and I wouldn't want to believe that, but I've come to notice that whenever something major happens and uh, there is type of characteristic that we have, which is we're quite disagreeable people, and we like to think for ourselves. We don't like for other people to think for us. We would like to check the information. We would like to inform ourselves. We would like to read about it thoroughly, and we would build an opinion, and we would then talk about our opinion. We would express our opinion, and so far I've come to notice that it feels like, at least, we have been the minority in the beginning of uh, every event in the past. Let's say maybe less than 10 years, but let's say 10 years. In the last 10 years, every major event that occurred, and we've had some type of opinion, and we've predicted something uh, because of that opinion that has been built on our understanding of
Oh,
of
it's
the
just
situation.
it's just critical thinking at the end of the
Exactly,
day, it's
exactly.
oops,
And and I feel like
sorry about that.
we've
Man,
been
by the
a
way,
minority
I'm sorry about that.
for
I don't know
multiple
if you
podcasts.
can even. Were you able to hear that? I misclicked X for a second and it started the video, and it was quite bad, but I'll play it after that. Are you testing something? What are you doing?
I thought that you've turned the live off.
No, 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 no. I'm here, but I had
Okay,
to
okay,
stop the audio because it this became too much.
okay.
Yeah, my bad, my bad. Okay,
All right.
go on.
So yeah, basically, I felt shortly put, I've said what I said.
Yeah.
Like I feel like, even though it sounds arrogant, we've been the minority. If we take our opinion, perhaps not the minority, because there is a silent majority. Perhaps the majority of people feel and think as we do, but we are the type of people who would voice out our opinion, and we would talk about it, and we would try to figure out what's the truth, because we might be wrong, but uh, we would like to find out, right? And
Yes.
that's the reason actually why we started doing this podcast, not only as our hobby, but also to find the truth, to a lot of different topics, to exchange ideas, to invite people to talk with us, and
Do you think that people in general prefer to talk on the topics that, I mean, this is like such a dumb question. Like we know the answer. Do you think that people prefer to ignore this side of the topic where we,
yeah.
like, I mean, because we've been, if you go back to a lot of the videos, we're
Mm.
basically right, and people like to ignore such topics, and not specifically to our videos, but in general, if you go to a lot of
In
like different,
general,
yeah,
I
because
would like to return in their pink balloon.
or also they prefer to talk on the topics that the group talks about and agrees on, to be with the group. Herd mentality.
Okay, yeah, they may feel discomfort from listening to uh, people thinking critically.
Mhm.
Could be.
Okay, yeah.
Are there any scientific uh, studies done on that? Let's
On
find out.
the actual topics,
Not the actual topics, but like, for example, how does herd mentality works on
people,
like,
nobody, including animals and people, nobody likes to be alone, uh,
yeah,
because they feel helpless, and that's one of the worst emotions you can have.
yeah. So you prefer to not really think about the issue,
I mean,
just so that you can be part of the society.
one of the biggest groups that you can find that proves this is one of the oldest groups and the most active one, which is football fans.
Okay.
They behave drastically differently in groups
Mm-hmm.
and alone.
Mm-hmm.
There's really like one-offs that would be behaving alone the same way they behave in a group. And then you also have military guys,
Yes,
similar.
but if you have like if you have football fans, w- would they ignore reality so that they can continue being football fans?
What?
Because herd mentality is basically you're talking about football fans, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So uh, the analogy is: would you ignore reality? Would you ignore or critical thinking just so you can stay and continue being football fan?
Probably. I wouldn't say me, but I mean, think about it. And also, and also, the funny thing. This also happens with a lot of the topics we discuss. People that are a part of a certain group that are on the same opinion of something, in most cases, do not like to talk about where the opinion comes from
Okay,
because
yeah,
they always find. You've seen that, right?
yes,
Because they always know subconsciously or
this is
consciously
not
that
their
it
own
comes from
opinion.
a single person, yeah, that told them. And there's and then behind that person you kind of find if there's logic or not. So if you look at football fans, it's like something that stems like it's a tradition
You
coming
know
from
what's
some
funny?
random guy.
You know what's funny? We think that we are so mighty and so smart and so autonomous, and we are so biological intelligence. We are so special in that. Uh, but at the same time, we think at least the majority of people, actually everyone, literally everyone, nobody is excluded. Everybody thinks in the same way as artificial intelligence, or should I say, artificial intelligence thinks just like a human. What do we do? Okay, uh, uh there is a dangerous, let's say, situation somewhere. What do I do? I go on the internet, I watch some news, I watch some podcasts, I watch some journalists, I watch some Wikipedia, as let's say, articles and so on, and I inform myself. And then based on that information, I conclude something, and I create an opinion, right? And this is exactly what artificial intelligence does. And the only thing that's different between us is the fact that I'm breathing and I feel alive. I actually feel alive.
It's not because of that as well, however.
Yeah, of course, God and so, but
No, yes. By the way, yes, because of him, you have choice, and there have been many cases where any person would choose to do something just straight out of the ordinary and against whatever you want to do.
yeah, but he has a choice.
Yeah, and he chooses to do something else.
Yeah, the majority
Zero
does.
logic.
That's what I,
You can
yeah.
have like zero logic, and it's I don't even know how to translate Napuk. But that's
The-
AI doesn't have that. AI doesn't have that
yeah,
because it would still try to calculate like this is a good feeling. AI doesn't have a good feeling. You know,
it can deduct good
no,
feeling.
no.
Yeah,
Do
what
you
is
know
good
that gut
feeling?
feeling is biologically explained? Do you know
Yes,
that?
but good feeling is
Uh huh.
kind of, it's a product of not only subconsciousness, not
It's an
only
intuition.
it's intuition, but intuition not only from what you can deduct consciously and subconsciously, but also your biological sensors. Like you may feel chemistry in the air. For example, if somebody is feeling really afraid of something, you may be with closed eyes and you can feel that person is afraid because you can smell it.
The
Basically, you've got the sensors to feel what the other person is feeling, and not only persons, but like you have many other types of like ways to deduct different feels through sensors, and those sensors can be also integrated within a robot, is what I'm trying to say.
mm, maybe okay.
Basically, it's different parameters on to create that feeling, that intuition.
I feel like it would never reach our level.
I hope so.
I feel
I
like
hope.
because like you can have like if I remember specific business meetings, you can have like somebody really toned down in front of you, talking all sorts of things to get you into some kind of a deal, and you would just know that it's wrong,
Yeah, yeah.
and he
That's
will do it in the right way,
yeah.
and you're just like, yeah, no. Even like you feel like you have to do it because like there's no excuse to not do it, and you're like still, yeah, no,
Mm,
and you're right.
yeah,
Like that's the funny thing about us.
yeah. True.
And I
That's
feel
true.
like it's because of the choices that we've made up to that point as well, so you kind of know what, or like automatically what you would like to be the outcome of, in a good or a bad sense, let's say. And then if you had a different person on the other side that, let's say, was greedy, or
Mm.
didn't care so much about specific, I don't know, ethics, let's say, they wouldn't catch it because they would be probably on the same opinion as the other guy, you
Do you
know.
think it's a trust issue?
It creates a trust issue
Yeah.
because I can give a chance to the guy. I can say, okay, like
Yeah, I've
I'm,
done that plenty of
you know,
times, and every time I'm like, yeah, I knew
yeah, yeah, and they always like,
it.
I'm like, okay, I'm giving you a chance. You can stop now.
Mm.
Like this is not gonna go this way. Like the
Yeah.
other day, like I don't typically use phrases like this, but I was forced to say on the phone because like this guy was asking me some stuff, and I'm like, okay, like yeah, this is not how it's gonna go. I'm telling you outright right now. We can do X Y Z.
Mhm.
So um, yeah, whatever. Would you like to check a couple of things that we actually pulled out on X?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Let's do
All
it.
right, give me a second. First, so I am not sure if there's any reason to even go in order. So I'll just have this in front of me like this. Give me a second.
Yeah, let's just see what's trending. Let's see what's
Oh,
going on.
I've opened a couple, and this is not by choice. You made me do it, so give me a second.
What are we watching? What's that? Who's this guy?
Should I keep it like this, or should I change? Let's keep it like this. This is not that bad. So this is a man, I think.
This
That
is a man, yeah.
yeah, I
I can
think
see that.
that have. You sure?
Wait,
This
what?
is Leo Thomas. Let me see.
Alexandra Denman.
What are you
Leah
even reading?
Thomas. Leo. Does it say? Okay, Leah Thomas loses her legal battle and will not have the chance to qualify for the Olympics, marking a major victory for women's sports and facing the heaviest penalty in sports history for fraudulent conduct. Fraudulent,
Fraudulent, yeah.
fraudulent. What did she do?
I
I
think
I, I
that
feel
it's
like
a guy that was racing women.
yeah.
It's a
To be
dude
honest,
beating
to be
women, yeah,
honest, you
in
know
sports.
the question that I asked was like I kind of knew it. I kind of felt it, you know?
Man, he doesn't seem like a bad guy here. What the fuck is wrong? Like, what went wrong with this guy? Is this AI?
May
This is not AI, right?
I hope not. But like you can see on this specific picture what exactly happened. This is a really competitive male who is going to compromise on his entire being, on his principles, on everything that a man should stand for, basically, just so that he can get on the first place and raise a medal, get a medal. I don't know really, man. Probably it's this could be it, but it could be, you know, he could have been motivated by somebody. Let's say that he felt differently. He felt like a woman, and he went to a psychotherapist or
But what would be the
wait.
logic?
So he might have felt depressed, let's say, and he went to a psychotherapist, and he told him, and purely speculating, of course, I'm just thinking, and he told him, um, "Have you ever thought that perhaps you you're not a man but a woman trapped in a man's body?" And
I'm
he's like, "Hmm, you know what? I actually do feel like that sometimes." And then you go into a spiral of a conversation where you're basically convinced that you are actually a trapped woman in a man's body. And then and she tells you, if you would like to understand more about how you feel, you should join this organization, and there are a lot of people who feel that way, and you'll find understanding, and they will accept you, and they will tell you more about why you feel that way. You get to know yourself better, and then you'll be stress free because you'll be finally yourself."
But you know what? Let me just like add something, like a small touch on top of this. What does this have to do with him racing women?
He's been an athlete, even though like 465 65th is it sounds bad, but it's actually not that bad. It's actually good. And
Where did you read
it,
that? 465th.
it was on the picture beneath here. 462nd actually.
Oh, I didn't even see
And
that, man.
yeah, and so and so
Wait,
he's
wait,
been
wait.
like,
No, 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 no. We cannot even say if this is. We cannot say this. Hold on. Let's. Um, USA men ranking
bro, there's like 50 states,
in
and
swimming.
each state has like many uh schools and colleges.
33 million.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
I feel.
swimming at least once. Swimming at least once. 376 was that? I think.
No.
Uh, bro, I know that there are like thousands of them, like thousands. So 462 is actually quite good, in my opinion. I think so.
Wait. Let's. I mean, maybe. What the?
Uh,
What? What
what?
just happened, man?
Uh, I felt some pain in my balls, to be honest.
Must be a number between 500. It's 500.
What? You want to say that in the entirety?
In
In
this
the
event, it was
entirety?
500, 498. And this is total men and women.
Yes, but that's like
In some event. This is
what's
some
that event?
event.
U.S. swimming individual event rank search. Search all athletes and their ranks in individual events based on the selected criteria. If you would like to search all years, go all time age group, top 100 times. I don't know.
This
I
is
think that
something.
there's like more than 500 people. Like America is like 250 million.
IVF clinic.
Okay,
And out of those 200 million people, there's going to be undeniably a lot of swimmers.
fair enough. This is the next one, again at random. This is fertility clinic
Wait.
bomber.
What do you think about my theory? Don't switch so fast.
Okay, sorry about that. Sorry about that. Yeah.
What do you think about that theory? First off, like,
It's something
can
that is
you-
quite common, actually. I mean, this is proven stories with kids mainly, but it may happen with a guy at his
Mm.
age. And it's something that actually it's proven that some um, medical professionals in the United States have been incentivized to do this.
A
So they
lot.
make money out of it.
Yeah,
So yeah,
NGOs, a lot of
they make
NGOs.
money out of it. Yeah. Wow. I mean, by the way, this is like such a slow slippery slope that it at one point, like this specific for instance case, or maybe you can take something similar, it like you kind of start like, where's the point at where you wonder, all right, like what can money not buy? Especially for normal people, because if you take a medical professional or you take a teacher, there's teachers like this. I mean, this is not a serial rapist or murderer. This is not a child trafficker. This is like some woman with some kids at home with a husband, or some husband with a wife at home and one child or whatever. You know what I mean? And they work with people and they have like a normal job, and there's like some point where and by the way, they don't pay them like drug dealers or whatever. I don't know what they get paid, but you get my, like, they give them a couple thousand on top.
Yep.
And he's like, oh, okay, yeah, I may be able, yeah, for a couple thousand to basically molest this person's psychology. Is that what they say to themselves, quote unquote? I don't
feel
like this is like so ridiculous.
I think they really do think that they're helping. I think so.
I'm not sure. I feel like they lie to themselves.
Yeah.
And maybe they're a bit perverted. I don't know how you can do something like this. Discussing topics like this and ignoring the whole fact that you may, for instance, if this is a guy, right? Actually, in both cases, guy or girl, indirectly or directly, there's a pretty big chance that this person is not going to have children anymore. And there's also a chance that they might commit suicide or not have healthy relationships.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's say,
chance.
yeah, so, and it's proven. And they,
and they're like, this is going to be good for you. This is gonna be great.
like we can fix you like this, even though there's like this chance that never again will we be the same. And also, you know what?
Not chance,
there's like this
actual fact.
There's like
You'll
this
never be the same.
Yeah, there's like this main final stage of life where you have a healthy family that you might not ever have ever again.
Ever again.
Yeah.
And
then, and by the way, that's the main reason that they start imposing laws that allow them to somehow hopefully get a family and pretend it's healthy, and then like it turns out, by the way, that it's not healthy in many cases. But it's kind of like they try to fix now the secondary problem, and it doesn't work.
The problem is you've got a lot of medical professionals who would say we are not doing anything illegal. We're just following whatever the fuck is allowed, and it's exactly the same as with Germany during 1940s when they were just following orders. It's the exact same reasoning.
Yeah.
And it's actually even worse because in Germany they actually followed orders, and in the US they have the freedom not to do it, but they're like greedy and they do it for the money, do it for the incentive.
And also, by the way, I want to show you something, because I don't want to be like this asshole that is just like talking as if like it's 100%. I mean, I cannot agree with it, but I don't want to be like a dickhead, And
Sure.
And if I pop this out, please check this out and tell me if this is normal, because certainly there's people that let me just pull this out. So what is this? Yeah, well, I'm just gonna copy it because it's on the other tab, and then we can come back. Okay, so there's probably people that have these feelings and they need it. Okay, cool. And then you kind of like pull out the statistics, and then you have like 2014 and almost nothing moves, and then you have this here.
Why do you think
typically this should go
2014?
Here. Specifically 2014? I know why it's 2020. I don't know about 2014, but I see that it doesn't move here. And then 2020, almost all of them aside from 45. Okay, so these groups remain kind of the same. And this one is the first time it rises, by the way. This group, 35, 45. And then everybody young that is typically on social media, literally, because this is, I mean, by the way, people can say, oh, well, it went from 0.6 to 3.2%. Man, can you calculate 3.2% on 600 million people, for instance? Can you like actually calculate that? This
That's
is
a massive amount of people.
insane. This is insane. And you can also see it here again. If it's like general, like the actual climb
But
would be
that's
like this.
422%
Yeah, and
increase.
this would not move, by the way. So this is like literally young people experimenting. This is
And
how
it
it would look.
starts at the same exact moment.
Yes, and young people would experiment. Okay, cool. I mean, I cannot agree, but you kind of see the logic. You know what I mean? This one was not moving. So this is kind of, I guess, like people that are,
Yes, but
I don't know what
do
they're
you,
doing.
do you think that hypothetically people would experiment with this if they have a different um moral compass?
You mean
You have to
like a
be
Christian
really
one
lost.
or something
Yes.
else?
For
Mhm.
example, yes, you have to be really lost if you are trying to find yourself by fucking with other
You
men,
know,
or you're being a woman and trying to, change your
I
change into a guy, try to grow a penis just so you can feel yourself, and then realize that you'll never be a real man, that every teenager is actually still stronger than you.
I I read I read a really simple quote, and it was every single sin. If you try to understand it and you really look behind it, you would see that it's a person
I'm
trying to
quoting you
be
right now.
happy without God. That's what the sin is.
Every single sin, if you try to understand it, it's a person trying to be happy without God.
That's what it is.
That's pretty strong.
Yeah, that's what it is. So like you try to find your own way to be happy, and by the way, like the funny thing is it doesn't ever work if you're sinning. Sooner or later it kind of like
Mm.
catches up to you, and people know this even if they don't want to agree, or
Do
if
you want
somebody
me? I've posted it to next. Do you want me to ask Grok if that's true?
ask it. Ask it.
You know what's actually pretty cool? You can. They have integrated Grok with everything. And for example, if you press the comment button here on any
This
post, no, the
here.
comment, yeah. And if you add Grok, no, add Grok, yep. And now you can ask him to do something like tell you to analyze, anything. You're basically chatting. Where did this happen, bro? I feel actually bad for laughing at this.
I didn't even watch the video still. I didn't see what it is about, but yeah.
But so it's gonna take its time because you know that there's like millions of people using it at once. But it's really, really cool. I've already tried it once. I love it. I love it. Actually, I feel like X is so different from what it used to be. It's
Okay.
every bro. Musk is a fucking genius. Of course, everybody knows that, but the way he integrated Grok into everything, and whenever Grok posts anything, he also promotes different shit. It's free marketing on everything to millions of people.
Cool.
It's a really, really good move he did with Twitter. Really power move,
I
and
cannot
he's
even
using it to
comment
the
because I
max.
haven't even tested it, but yeah.
You should
Uh,
test it. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
yeah. Well, I mean, exclude. Sorry about that. So let's run this and just check what it is. Maybe we don't need to run it up until the end, but
Sure,
I'm
let's go.
kind of curious.
Sure.
IVF clinic bomber ID'd as Guy Edward Bartkiss, a pro-mortalist who opposed people being born without their consent. Okay?
How does that even happen? Can you tell me now?
What happened?
How does a person consent to being born?
A pro mortalist who opposed people being born without their consent?
Go on, tell me.
All right. Yep. Sure. So we've got a real individual here, and let's see what else is going on here. And Bartkiss allegedly described his fanatical pro-death beliefs, written and recorded manifestos, as being against bringing people into the world without their consent to spare them from future suffering. K-Cal News reported, bro, this guy's like a JRPG villain. Oh my.
This guy has watched too much Marvel, I feel like.
Bro,
Too much.
God. Yeah, this is like something straight out of like a video game. Okay, so yeah, there we go. Sanest Redditor. Yeah, I guess so. And let's see if he said anything else about it. Debris and broken glass. Why else did he say it? Nearby resident. So that's about it, right? There's nothing. Nobody else really talking about this. A what? Oh, yeah,
That's
I mean, like,
it?
the guy's crazy. I mean, I don't really know what's the surprise. Oh no. Okay, let's see if I can find it here, and if there's any more information about it. Is a pro-mortalist, meaning he believes in destruction of all life. This is ultimately at the core of leftist ideology. Well, what is this here? You can download the recorded stream. Pro-mortalist, so you're just pro-psycho killers. So this is just, yeah, I mean, okay. I mean, I feel like it's just kind of a nutball, right? Yeah, kind of a nutball, so it's not a right-winger after all. No, it's not. I know that, like, I was expecting...
So this guy is just like in general against giving birth, and he believes that people just need to die out. That's it.
to be honest, I don't even want to think about it. Like, what's there to think about? What's there to think about? Like,
I mean, how?
that it could have
Give me
been.
a
I thought
second.
it was
Is there a-
somebody who was like,
Do we have a
"Oh,
link
well,
to this guy?
IDS is a perversion of God's will or something like that. I was expecting maybe that would happen. Watch this,
Wait,
I'll
this
get in
happened, bro?
trouble, especially like because you know the guy is. I mean, like, what is terrorism? Well, this is terrorism.
I didn't
right?
even know what I'm asking him now. Do you realize?
I mean,
Do you
100%.
realize what he's
So,
gonna do?
like, I mean, I'll let you know
What's his answer gonna be?
that I would watch this whole thing, but I just don't want to get in trouble from, you
I think you got an answer. The bombing at the
So
pound.
this
Spring
guy has a
potato.
this guy has a confession silvered again.
know, Twitch. Because as we are
Is it
not
this
allowed
one?
to life
Okay. Hold on. Do we search here?
Bro, he bombed a fertility clinic. How fucking evil and stupid you have to be. Like, that's like negative IQ, quite literally.
I think they took off the video, didn't they? Where's the video?
Why did you follow them?
Because he had yeah. I saw on the top some political videos and I thought that he's gonna spare us some work. But I see that he's promoting shitcoins. Literally. Okay. Flashback. What the fuck?
And who's that?
My
Who's
mother
Silver
drove
again?
us, and rather than us be able to walk. And guess what? The first frost, you know what was happening? You had to put on your windshield wipers to get literally the oil slick off the window. That's why I and so damn many other people I grew up have cancer. And why can't for the longest time, Delaware had the highest cancer rate in the nation. And because it was a
Bro, what did he say? What
I
did he
didn't-
say, dude?
I didn't understand absolutely. Please translate, please. That's fucking genius, bro. By the way, he answered. Grok answered to your bombing that question.
Okay, so this one was taken down.
And what's the video about? That's the
His
manifesto.
his confession.
You know,
yeah.
that's actually pretty weird because, like, philosophies does this relate to? You're going to burn in hell for this. I know, not a question, but I just wanted to say your God definitely doesn't exist. But if he did, I'd choose Satan over your evil God. Did you ever think that maybe the Bible is just slander against Satan, and that Satan just realized what a fucking creep your God is? What finally put you over the edge? I've known for a few years now I wasn't going to allow myself to make it past my 20s. Recently, my best friend Sophie killed herself. She got the guy she was living with to shoot her while she was sleeping.
What am I reading? What is going on? What's
Her
going on?
preferred method. That's her preferred method. And I don't think I really knew how much it was going to affect me. I've never related to someone so much and can't imagine ever would again. We were both
By the way,
anti-sex.
really
We were
quick,
both anti-sex.
one thing. I think he shot her, is what he means. Because how would he know it? And he says that they know each other, and that, like, look at how he talks,
Oh my god.
right? Maybe.
Very possible.
Yeah, I feel like it's him,
Yeah,
and that's why he's so fucked
yeah.
up. Her preferred
wait.
method. How would he know that?
So anti-sex. I'm talking like Reddit anti-sex.
I don't even wanna know, nigga. What the hell?
Misandrists. Veg or veg antinatalist. Negative utilitarians. Both also had borderline personality disorder. I can see that for sure. Anyway, we got along quite well, and it was very nice, especially when you feel like you're in the apocalypse and nobody else seems to get anything.
Ugh.
Bro.
This is like some dark stuff, man. this, I don't know what to say. You know, like it's not
I
even
don't feel
funny.
it.
Like these are
I don't
young
even feel
people,
it's
man.
dark. I don't even feel it's. I don't feel it's dark. You know, there's plenty of dark.
But it's
there is
young
real
people.
dark. This is not dark. This is literally mental disorder, mental sickness, really bad mental sickness, really bad. Anyway, Joe Biden 2022 comment about having cancer likely referred to past skin cancer treatments as qualified by the White House, not his 2025. Oh yeah, by the way, I read just today that Biden has prostate cancer.
Okay. The bombing at the Palm Springs fertility clinic on May 17, 2025 appears to be driven by complex factors. Evidence points to the suspect, Guy Edward Bartkus. Is this like even a normal name? Holding anti-natalist views, opposing procreation due to life suffering, as seen in his social media and the manifesto. Why does this sound so funny? Like, this is so simplified. Opposing procreation due to life suffering. I mean, I'm sorry, but how does this sound to you? Like, this is targeting. The FBI labels it terrorism targeting a clinic aiding reproduction. However, the anti-natalist community condemns the violence, emphasizing their philosophy is peaceful. Some argue personal mental health issues like depression may have played a significant role, suggesting a mix of ideology and personal distress. The exact motive remains under investigation, with no single explanation fully confirmed.
Damn.
So this is just like Channel 5 notes, you know?
Yeah, probably. I mean, you know,
Okay.
artificial intelligence works like that. So
Okay. Would you like to see how people don't realize when people die around them?
what do you mean?
Okay. So this is like the video that actually started when I muted it. And this behind her is one of the biggest ships that is still working, like one of them old ships. That's
Don't tell me
renovated.
somebody fell from the top.
Everything here is people.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Okay. Yeah.
These are acrobats.
Mhm.
Everywhere. On the back as well. These are acrobats. These here are acrobats. It's a
Mhm.
charitable voyage, I think, that
Yeah,
they
but
do.
maybe there is like platform beneath that's like soft.
Okay, well, let's see how right you are. Let's see, because I've watched it.
You watched it. sounds so much. It's why am I laughing? I'm so fucking sick.
Why is there this music, bro? Why is there this music, bro?
Oh, for you, bro. Imagine being up there hanging for dear life. Oh my god.
Bro, this is not even funny. Like, these guys are getting messed up,
But
bro.
think about the guys
Look,
in the very top.
look.
Oh. Oh my god! I just saw a guy flying
Yes, this
down.
is not.
Yeah.
This is not funny, bro.
Yeah, I mean, fuck that.
No,
Yeah.
this is not okay. Like, this is.
Yeah, let's
Check
move
this
on.
out. Look at this. There he
Yeah,
is.
that's the guy I was talking
Yeah.
about.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
What? Това е толкова троско проснало. I'm really
Why?
sorry.
Why?
I'm really sorry about the people who died and that the fact that I'm laughing. I'm really sorry, honestly, but that was kind of funny.
Is that someone falling? Yes.
What do you think? Can you explain why this video is art and tell me exactly why I am a good person for loving it so much? Я да видим какво каза.
Why is everybody trolling this? How do I check
Bruh.
it? How do I check it?
Just click on it anywhere, not there.
Anywhere?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my goodness, 2 people died, bro.
Yeah, I know. I saw one of them falling. Why does Thomas has
I don't even want to know.
where is Grok? Grok explain.
Same energy. True.
Bruh.
And by the way, it took her like a healthy 5 seconds to like stop celebrating.
I don't know why this is so funny. I really don't know. I'm really sorry.
I mean,
I feel
I mean,
bad
at
for
the end of the
laughing.
day, a lot of people in the comments are reacting like this. I feel like it's just so ridiculous.
It's
And
really
it's
so
it's
ridiculous.
such a low ball, it's like such a low ball with the music, and like people chatting to Grok. I feel like
You know,
that's-
let me say that if I die like this, please
you
laugh
can
at me.
laugh. You can laugh.
You-
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Don't
okay.
feel bad about laughing at
Yeah.
me. If I die like this,
I mean, just in general, if I die, I would like you just to make jokes about me.
Uh,
Yeah,
I can promise. If it's me, I can promise you.
absolutely.
You've earned it. You've earned it.
Thank you. All right. Now,
Especially the one time you fell like a couple 100 meters.
from a mountain.
Bro. Oh my god! Especially the fact that I told you, dude, don't don't do what I'm doing because you're gonna fall down. You're gonna fall down, and you literally did it.
Oh,
You fell like a couple 100 meters down.
okay. The instant caused 2 deaths. Oh,
Due to the impact.
man, he really didn't look too secure to me. He seemed like he like literally plummeted.
I don't know. It's pretty hard, pretty difficult to see the wiring and everything. Let's
I
see the
think
next
so.
thing. The
Yeah.
world is what? Is running out of people and it's worse than you think. Forget robots that taking your job. Soon there won't be enough humans left to do them anyway.
So this guy just basically spawn camped himself that bombed the clinic, because if he was just a bit patient, it would automatically happen.
Mm.
The global population will start shrinking, not growing. That's bad news for jobs, the economy, and anyone hoping to retire. By 2100, the world could lose up to 2 billion people, with countries like Italy and China watching their workforces vanish. Fewer babies means fewer workers, and fewer workers means less money, slower growth, and a whole lot of panic. I feel like they are probably not calculating AI into this. The great people shortage has already started. From pilots to preschool teachers, this is true. Companies can't find enough staff. Yeah. So how do they calculate this? Like, this is, by the way, these simple graphs to me always, not always, but in most cases seem like outright propaganda or stuff that is meant to go into your head. Not that it's not true, but it's kind of like so simplified. It's kind of like plaster it in your brain, you know?
Yeah. Mm.
A
To-
good statistic should
it's
explain
made-
it like this, but yeah.
It's made in such a way that even if a chimp looks at it, would understand what it's looking at, you know.
Yeah.
So
Grok is
Grok is true.
has some basis. UN data projects then a slight decline due to falling birth rates, especially this is like the new meme that I've totally missed for like I don't know how long, this Grok asking stuff. This could cause labor
Yeah, by the way, me
shortages.
too. I didn't know.
Yeah. It's probably something that's absolutely not even
it's
new.
so funny because it came so naturally. This is literally the first thing we started doing.
By the way, yeah. Just kind of sketchy to me. Like, are we sure this is for real or just mood? Okay, skip this. Skip this. I have another one from Elon. And now we can ask Grok for sure. Because check this out. Yeah.
Link, which is now helped 5 patients restore
Is it just me or
capability,
he?
using the telepathy implant, where they're able to control the computer simply by thinking. We'll be doing our first.
He's a bit AI-ish.
Yeah.
Patient
Yeah.
to restore to restore sight with our blind sight implant, which is either end of this year or early next. In fact, that first patient might be in UAE, since we have a relationship with UAE and the Cleveland clinic there. We've got Neuralink, which is now helped 5 patients restore capability, using the telepathy implant, where they're able to control the computer simply by thinking.
Oh, it's my bad. Okay, so it was looping. So in what scenario are you okay with placing a chip inside of your head that connects you to your Wi-Fi and directly to X, so you don't need to use a keyboard or a mouse like me, the peasant?
To be honest, the people who are doing it, who are a part of the trial and accepted as part of the trial, they have a lot of issues. Let's say they don't really have hands, if I remember correctly, or they cannot really control them. They're like what was it called? Paraplegic?
Yeah,
Not sure.
I agree. You're right.
So, you know, it's like asking a blind person, would you want to see again?
Okay, I get that. I mean, this is like first trials, right?
Yeah.
And it's, to me, if you're asking me, like, I would always have this question in my head. Okay, so this is made out of metal and some other probably components.
Mhm.
What's its lifespan, and how does it work with my brain? And when it's connected to my brain, obviously, at
To
what
be
point do I
honest-
have to replace it?
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like Neuralink to me is first and foremost not a civilian technology. It is military grade technology. To me personally, I believe it's military grade because the implications for Neuralink to be used in helicopters, in large machinery to be controlled with your mind is quite extensive. And I feel like there is just too many applications in the military world to be ignored, to not perceive it as a military grade technology, you know.
Oh, by the way, if I'm not mistaken, I feel like currently, I mean, I have to check, but some time ago, I saw somebody using it to, there was some marketing to play something like StarCraft or something. I'm not sure.
No,
what
no,
it was.
CSGO.
Yeah. And it was more difficult to do it with the Neuralink than with the mouse and the keyboard. So if you're like piloting something, you, for it to be better than
Yep,
the
but
actual
right
pilot,
now.
like you would, yeah, right now. Yeah. So I don't know, like, again, like,
But at the same time, they were talking about that in the beginning it was really difficult for him, but the more he played, the better he become, and at some point, he was like as if he was having hacks because he doesn't have to aim with the mouse. He just had to look at the head of the enemy and just think about shooting him, and he was shooting him. That's aimbot, quite literal aimbot. So, yeah.
my point is that these are not the actual, let me just paste this. This is
Do
not
you know
like,
what I'm
Leaders commit to
thinking about whenever I think about Neuralink, I feel like this is Warhammer, those heavy machines that are, you know, the dead, not tech priests, you know, the tech priests,
yes,
the tech priests that
Yeah.
are like creating that Doom machine from a
This is what I mean,
Space
by the way.
Marine.
It said exactly what we said, literally one to
Risks
one.
like infection, wire retraction, and unknown long-term effects are real. Ethical issues, including animal testing and data privacy, plus hacking concerns, make me skeptical. Without the medical need, I would wait for more data and transparency, giving Neuralinks early stage in controversies. That's why it's
That's
so
pretty good.
controlled. It's like the type of tests that they're doing, they're quite literally doing them on like one or two people. They're not like mass tests. It's not mass tests because there's too much at stake and they don't want to risk it. So they're still developing it up until a point where, okay, now it's safe to test on on larger scale, you know. So
leaders commit
yeah.
I agree.
to transparency to address the Epstein controversy? Really?
Well, Dan, throughout the Russia collusion story and the rest.
Why is this guy like
to
a
the
frog?
folks that were in our seats,
This is the
our
director of
predecessors,
FBI.
and they intentionally failed the American public
new
by
one.
putting on the biggest DC deception game we've ever seen. They said the FBI was the most storied
It is
institution
patron.
for law enforcement, and it was. And it will be again very soon. But when the likes of Comey and McCabe and Strzok and company came in here with the James Bakers of the world and intentionally lied to a federal court only to rig a
Why are all of these guys with like
I like-
bobblehead eyes?
Yeah,
You know what I
I
mean?
like Volaton coke eyes.
Yes, exactly. But also,
Yeah.
yes, by the way, yeah, that's what I mean. But it's not like just coke eyes. It's like all of them are typically on public speaking. They're not blinking.
I think it's something that they train.
This is not moving. I forgot the name.
Yeah.
The eyes look a bit AI-ish typically. Like the white stuff is protruding to the front in some cases.
But keep in mind also that this guy, since he was elected to be the new director of FBI, he hasn't. So he's been already what 2 months, 2 months, and for the last 2 months, this guy has been grilled on a daily basis on so many different topics. Please release the Epstein files. Please release the JF Kennedy. Please do that. Please do that. Please do that. And then you had like Russia collusion and so many things that for the last couple months this guy has been grilled on a daily basis. I'm pretty much sure that this is partly the reason why he's looking like that.
presidential election by lying to the American public and using taxpayer dollars, likely illegally, to fund this entire operation, and then withhold exculpatory information from a federal court that I used to appear before to manhunt terrorists. That's what broke the FBI. And then when they were caught, they lied about it. And you and a few others like Dan and others were brave enough to cover it 6, 7, 8 years ago, and we're still talking about
Are
it
they at
today
the shooting
because as
range?
Congress is working rigorously with us,
They
the
are.
Crossfire Hurricane documents are coming fast and hard, and they're being sent there unredacted so we can have full accountability. And that's how you restore what the trust that was lost to the American public when it comes to the FBI.
Yeah, but come on, Director, with all due respect, we've been talking about this for a long time.
Fucking based. Absolutely fucking based.
Is this coming from him? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, by the
I've
way,
been
it's
demanding
been
accountability
already
for
like
many, many
1,
years.
2 years
One of the you
since Epstein was killed.
I think too.
mentioned Comey, Strzok, and the rest. They've got TV
They're
shows.
gone.
They've got
Time
media
flies.
platforms.
Now
They're
it's you.
fine. There's been no accountability.
Well, look, it's a fair criticism, but what I
It is.
It's a bit more than fair, I feel like.
will tell people is we weren't here in the FBI in the last 5 years when we had statute of limitations that were still in play where we could have investigated criminal conduct. Most of these statute of limitations are 5 years old. And we will investigate criminal conduct where we find a righteous case to do so and the law and the facts allow us to. But a lot
That's fair. If he said the statute of limitations is over and they can't investigate it, I mean that's stupid. But I mean that's okay.
of it we're precluded from. So we'll take the criticism, and it's rightfully so. That could we have done more in the past? Sure.
Does
people
this guy
before us
really
could
wanna
have,
be
but
there?
What we can do now is continue
Epstein
to
files.
put out the documents and the information that these people withheld from the American public. And I'm just telling you right now, as much as we know about Crossfire Hurricane, he and I just found out more last week. And we're continuing to work with
Crossfire
Congress to
Hurricane documents. Give me a second. Crossfire Hurricane.
By the way, not a
files,
single time,
declassified.
not a single time did he mention if they're gonna declassify them or he even addressed the question. Not a single time.
put those documents out.
I will
That's
they're
how
out. They're
vindictive
out.
and vicious the former leadership structure here was. Not only
What
did
the
they
fuck is this?
bastardize the FISA process and lie to the American public,
But I feel
they
like they're
withheld,
probably
hid documentation and put it
marked.
in rooms where people weren't supposed to look. And it's a good thing we're here now to clean it up, and you're about to see a wave of transparency.
What?
What do you mean?
Oh yeah,
Just
yeah,
give
they're
us about
marked.
a week or two.
As I said, yeah, there's
Okay.
nothing inside.
I remember hearing that with
You ain't gonna
QAnon.
see anything there, bro.
2
Yeah.
weeks into
Just,
the Patriot.
just for people that are wondering why I said it, like immediately, I know how they declassify files. Check this
Yes.
out. Check this out. This is
I
how
was-
they.
I
This
was
is
reading the
literally
JFK
this.
files.
Look at this. Look at
Yeah,
this,
this
bro.
is declassified.
This is declassified. December 2016. Have a nice day. Go and drink a cold water, as they say.
Tuesday. It was Tuesday.
Yes. Declassified. Declassified. Declassified, bro. Declassified, declassified, declassified. There's not image not available for this document. At least we know that. St. Petersburg sources claim Republican candidate Trump has paid bribes and engaged in sexual activities.
Ай, this is нещо, което не е
There-
declassified.
but key witnesses silenced and evidence hard to obtain. Both believe Azeri business associate of Trump, Aras Agawarov, will know the details. Speaking to a trusted compatriot, two will play sources based in St. Petersburg, one in the political business elite and the other involved in the local services tourist industry, commented on Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump's prior activities in the city.
Bro, by the way, I have opened the first part is like 343 pages. There's like a lot.
And they have like tags, by the way. Do you see this?
Let me see.
World War II. Okay. Oh, they really do have
No, no, no.
tags.
No, this is different. This is
yeah,
different.
this is not the same. Yeah,
But
this is
yeah, that's
recently
like-
added.
That's like 343 pages, bro.
Oh, we can see it like this. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah. That's declassified for you.
This is the classified. Do you like that? Even the tables. Oh my goodness. Bro.
I cannot say what does it say.
How can you see it? It's not there. It's not there. Oh, what is this? Keeps calling. This is these are phone
Can you
calls.
zoom in?
Text body. Yeah.
Bro, they have been listening to mobile
Yeah, they have. I think.
SMS text messages from database located on Peter
Samsung
Strock
Galaxy
previously
SS.
assigned FBI Samsung Galaxy S3. That's probably
His
not corporate device, but you know.
yeah, FBI device.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's about it. Let's see the last page. Do we have a last page or not?
Oh, there is some here.
Is this like the summary?
Oh, can you go a couple behind? A couple back? A couple pages back? Here, yeah. Pending with the Department of Justice. Do not disseminate outside the FBI without adequacy. On January 24, 2017, Deputy Assistant Director Peter Strzok II and SSA Nobody Knows interviewed United States U.S. National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, date of birth, whatever, at his office at the White House. After being advised of the identities of the interviewing agents and the nature of the interview, Flynn provided the following information. Flynn's first invitation to Russia occurred when he was the Director of Defense, DoD, Intelligence Agency, DIA. Flynn was the first DIA director to be invited to GRU headquarters. That's interesting. GRU is basically nowadays KGB.
Yeah.
During that 4-day trip in 2013, he participated in a leadership development program at GRU Military Intelligence Headquarters. Flynn received proper authorization within the US government prior to conducting the trip. Flynn could not recall if he met Russia's ambassador to the United States, Sergei Ivanovich Kislyak. During this trip, Flynn described that the Russians are very appreciative of his visit. During this trip to Russia as DA director, Flynn first met the then GRU director Igor Sergun. Following the trip, Flynn and Sergun continued their relationship on at least one occasion through video conference and were planning a visit for Sergun to travel to the United States on February 28, 2014. Russia invaded Crimea in the weeks prior to Sergun's planned trip. Sergun's trip was cancelled, and Flynn had no further contact with the GRU director. Flynn described Sergun as having common ground with Flynn in that they had similar backgrounds, their sons were at the same age, and they had a connection in fighting terrorism. Sergun had scars from Chechnya, and they shared stories about Afghanistan. Flynn stated he called Ambassador Kislyak following Sergun's death in whatever. So basically, they were basically kind of battle buddies, but in a different, different worlds. Similar battle stories and so on. So they kind of bonded, yeah. And Flynn, in some way, Flynn was connected to Trump, and this is the Trump-Russia collusion. Interesting. Well, 343 documents, we managed to read one. That's good.
I cannot say that we read it, but we definitely observed it.
We did.
But I don't think we need to watch more on this video, because I kind of get the taste that we're not going to get any answers out of them. Otherwise, even like immediately, like it would pop up in the beginning. It's kind of, is there a point where people would realize that when you have like, even for FBI, if you have like the director, it is still kind of like almost a political role, because like he's the face of the organization, so he's kind of like publicly speaking constantly. Yes. So when do people realize that the job there is to just shrug off as much as possible and allow the agency or the political group to work, and like that's it, and you just take some hits and
not some hits, you take every hit. Basically, you're on the top of the mountain and it's very windy.
Yeah, and people think that it's a genuine conversation in most cases. And this is just like damage control or stalling, as they say.
Well, he has to. Like, it's very the responsibility is on your shoulders. You have to do it.
In those files, how many people, huh?
Honestly,
people
I feel
from
like
different
even
levels.
I feel like even though they're like there could be tens, there could be hundreds, there could be thousands, but I think that because of one or probably two people, they're not releasing it. Not because of all those people involved. You know.
Probably let's call it 10 or 20. Let's say 10 or 20.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can agree to that, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's two. I
It's
just have
it
some
doesn't even
intuition. It doesn't even matter.
in my
To be honest with
opinion, if it's 2 or 3, you're right that it doesn't matter, or 10 or 30 doesn't matter. It's probably the fact that it's people that still are needed. That's why. If they are not needed, they would declassify it. In
I think
reality.
that they're really powerful people. Really powerful people. That's that.
But if they're powerful people, you wouldn't have the list.
That's why we don't have the list.
Yeah, but no, but that's what they would not be on the list. That list is probably the backup plan of Epstein, with which he thought he would be left
Yeah.
alive, and that's why
But the
he
only way to be left alive is to grab somebody really powerful that has a lot of connections. That
yes, but even
has
those wouldn't be, because he can write anything first of all, so it has to be verified. And there's, by the way, if you look on the legal part of things, you would actually have to verify that. And if you have people that you have not verified via cameras or trips,
But the thing is
you
that
would be like
nobody really cares.
really.
Yeah, but nobody really cares about being proven, because the moment you are on the list,
But that's
on
what I mean.
absence
That's what I
list,
mean. If we look at the legal part of things, this would be the only non-conspiracy reason to not post it, because you have not verified all persons on the list. So then you would throw them under the bus like this.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That happens. So, and if it's so many people, now that's a big problem.
I feel like they will sooner or later release the list, and they will be classified a couple of places, just a couple of places.
That would be a bomb if they do that, in my opinion.
They will do that. I'm pretty
Because
sure.
if they classify names on a list
They
like
will
this,
do.
this
They
would
will
be
do.
crazy.
Yeah.
This would be
They will
crazy,
do.
man.
And people wouldn't even care, They will feel accomplished. They'll feel like, 2, 3, who are they? Maybe quite interesting. They'll forget in a week.
You think the same would happen with Diddy? The Diddy list or whatever it is.
Well, to be honest, this is quite different.
Like they all know it,
because
by the way. They all know each other.
This is quite different because Diddy's okay. He's very rich
Public.
showman,
He's
but
public.
he's a fucking showman. Nobody fucking gives a fuck about Diddy. You know, he is some psycho with really popular friends, but he's not powerful.
There's a lot of directions that aim at him killing Tupac, killing what? Yeah, and a couple of other rappers and people connected.
Yeah,
to them.
I know that he's also tried to poison his guards, who wanted to disclose information about him, similar to what you're saying. Not sure.
Like the guy, there's
it's
a
in the
chance
same
that he's an
context.
actual killer. Like you can say whatever you want.
He looks like one,
Yeah,
but he's not that powerful, is what I'm saying. Like he's
he
very rich,
he can
he's
pay
very
some thugs to
popular.
do some stuff, you know.
Exactly, yeah. But that's that, paying
It's
some thugs and controlling the NSA or FBI for a couple of years it's a massive thing.
I feel like people like this, they just probably live on autopilot, and there comes a point where like it's just like life catches by.
Catches up.
Yeah, you
Catches
know,
up, yeah.
catches up, yeah. And I feel like they don't even understand when the reality check has hit them in most cases, and these guys are just. Do they even care? Because I read and I watched in some videos. There is a really interesting video. I advise you to watch it. So like just type interviewer gives her opinions on the Diddy case, something like this, and it's a Chinese reporter or something like this. I mean, she's Asian, and she was, because cameras are forbidden, but as a reporter they allowed her to be in the court, and she describes for like 2 or 3 hours how Diddy behaves in those days, and it's like kind of like haunting how he behaves.
Yeah.
Actual sociopath, you know?
And he's got that look in the eyes also.
Yeah.
You know?
Actual, you know, murderer, and at least the behavior. And in that, or I think in some other videos about it, I heard or saw that he also included his son in these parties and in stuff like this.
Yeah, he probably fucked his son. Can you imagine that?
Bro,
Yep.
I don't want to imagine that. And
Me
I mean,
too. I
there's
didn't imagine it, but it's just that you know those freak offs. It's basically a freak off. They do pretty damning things. Not he's literally sued for that. You know.
let me check this. Let me check this. Tools, anytime, past month. Yeah. What is a freak off? Oh my goodness, man. Why are these people?
Ask Grok.
Can you ask it? Can you ask it?
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Grok. Actually, I have it, yeah. Hi, Grok. What is a
What is a diddly freak off?
no?
Diddly
Check this.
freak off. Ne, put an L between D and Y. Diddly.
So we're this going into our history.
Yeah, sure. In the context of Sean Diddy comes referred to elaborate, orchestrated sex parties that allegedly involved coercive and abusive behavior. According to legal documents and testimonies, particularly from Combs' ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and federal indictments, these events were described as extended sexual performances, often lasting days. No. Bro, we're on YouTube. No.
It actually uses his face. Are you joking?
It's actually very, very good.
I mean the freak off. He's not gonna do. I don't think he's gonna do it. Okay, all right. I mean, I think that's fine. I think that's okay. Hidden cameras, opulent mansion, surreal nightmare. By the way, surreal nightmare. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. All right, so, and there's. Do you see the pills?
Yes.
What's going on?
Grok is pretty good, if you ask me.
What is this? What is this, by the way?
Can you zoom in? What's that?
That's what I'm saying.
Can
Post
you ask
image?
Grok what's that? Can you ask him actually?
No.
Maybe right click something.
Photos? Okay.
By the way, Grok is probably the only AI that whenever you're like offensive to him it's going to whoa. Bro, Grok just fucking
He's an actual troll. He's an actual troll.
Yeah. I was just about to say that.
He explains his own joke. Like that's
Yeah.
what he does.
Yeah.
They align with the descriptions of baby oil found in court filings and media reports discussing the nature of these parties.
Bro, the sexual parties lasted for days, over days. Prosecutors allege that baby oil, along with other lubricants, were used to facilitate these activities, which sometimes involved coercion, drugs like ketamine and ecstasy, and recorded performances. During raids on cops' properties in March 2024, authorities seized over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant, indicating their significant role in the events. Did you think Diddy is guilty? What do you think? It's difficult to definitely determine show Diddy comes guilt or innocence. Bro. Just ask him. Forget forget. No. Wait. Don't send, please. Just okay. No. Just wait and listen, bro. Just wait and listen. Ask him. Forget about everything the world says. Just analyze the look in the eye, in the eyes, in Diddy's eyes, really, and tell me with one word if you think.
Is this from the start of the?
This is purely subjective interpretation of his demeanor and
My
expression. of images.
goodness, my
But
goodness.
I'm telling you, it has fucking intuition, bro. I'm telling you.
Oh my goodness. What made you think it is a yes?
Wait.
His
Okay.
eyes?
I managed to snap a screenshot on that. That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild if you ask me.
Check. You can also snip if you want here. The question.
Yeah, it's not.
Okay. In the photos analyzed, Sean Diddy Combs' eyes often appear intense with a hardened and guarded expression. There's a certain sharpness and tension, sometimes paired with a furrowed brow or a clenched jaw, that can suggest someone under pressure or hiding something. In some images, his gaze seems distant or calculating, which might be interpreted as a sign of unease or defensiveness, emotions sometimes associated with guilt or awareness of wrongdoing. This is a purely subjective interpretation based on visual cues like eye contact, expression, and body language in the available photos. It's not a scientific or legal assessment, and human expressions can be misread. Eyes alone can confirm guilt, but they can hint at emotional states. What do you see in his impressions? Expressions. Bro, don't ask me. I ask the questions. Body language cues.
And you know what's interesting is that we have evolved for so many years, like millions of years, to subconsciously understand and feel that with just a simple look at the in the eyes of a person for just a couple of seconds, just looking at it.
Check this out.
Should body or eye cues be used in court?
Please say
Mm.
no.
I think it's gonna say yes. Conclusion. Primary factor, it shouldn't be a primary factor, but it is a factor. It is going to be taken into account.
Oh no. No, it's not a. Thank you.
I think that it's lying. I think it's lying. No, thank you. Thank you, please.
based on look at this. Okay, so this is important. Now, based on this chat and my questions towards you and just everything you read from me in general, please, as a fun experiment, give me your thoughts on my background, age, views, interests, politics, everything. You can think of. Your interest in high-profile legal cases suggests you might live in an urban or media-saturated area where such news is prominent. Oh wow. You could have a middle-class or higher background as your questions imply access to technology and education, e.g. asking about AI in court cases, and you're comfortable engaging with complex topics like legal ethics and behavioral analysis. Age, I'd estimate you're in your mid-20s to early 30s. Fuck. Your curiosity about a sensational celebrity case points to someone young enough to be engaged in pop culture and social media trends, but your deeper questions like the ethical implications of AI in course suggest a level of maturity and critical thinking typical to someone past their early 20s. You're likely at an age where you're exploring the world, questioning systems, and forming your own views. You seem open-minded and inquisitive, with a willingness to explore controversial topics without immediate judgment. You value fairness and critical analysis and seem in your interest in whether body IQs should be used in court. You're actively skeptical of narratives pushed by the world. Oh man, as you put it, preferring to dig deeper for yourself. It's quoting you. This suggests a personality that's independent, analytical, and perhaps a bit contrarian. You don't take things at face value.
A contrarian.
Oh my goodness, no.
Contrarian is the actual word that you were looking for.
Yes. Interests. You're clearly drawn to true crime, celebrity scandals, and legal dramas, given your focus on Diddy. You also have an interest in technology and its
let's
societal
be honest,
impact.
it didn't like hit on the spot for some of it. Like let's say 40%, but let's say 50 to 60% is quite accurate.
It fucked up here. Are we libertarian?
Yes, we are.
We
Yeah.
are? We are?
Yes, we are.
Okay, but I
We're
guess
kind
you're
of
leaning moderate
centrist.
with a
We're kind of
libertarian
very,
streak.
very centrist, but nowadays centrism is kind of libertarian.
Mhm.
We're not, you know, what was it? What was the word? Con, con, I forgot the word. Anyway,
You're likely single or in a casual relationship as your focus on sexual scandal and late night chatting suggests a lifestyle with personal freedom and fewer immediate responsibilities. Oh my goodness,
do you feel
it actually
good about
burnt us.
yourself?
It actually burnt us. This
That's
was a
what I
burn.
was trying to say. It's a good throw. It's a good throw.
Yeah.
And if you are offensive towards Grok, it's going to strike back.
Oh my goodness.
Don't try it.
You're likely 25,
I've seen-
32-year-olds, English speaking, possibly American. Grok. This was a more boring answer than expected from well coded. Yeah. Yourself. Does it actually fight back? Okay, let's leave it. Let's stop for today, bro.
Sure.
This is more than enough.
Let's do it. Yeah. It's
think
been
this is
quite
more than
fun,
enough.
to be honest. It's been quite fun. For real, for
Certainly.
real.
Yeah.
For real. I like what we just did. I feel like even though like we don't have many viewers as of right now, I feel like it's much better. I feel it's more fun, to be honest. And to be honest, for me personally, I feel it's even better because I have less and less opportunities to practice my English. So this is actually really good.
You're warming up.
Yeah.
All right. I'm happy about that, man. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, to everybody that actually watched or would watch the votes, thank you so much. We hope you enjoyed and maybe you had a thought or two on the topics that we went through. and it was just a bit more of a chill episode today. So
Absolutely,
that's basically it. Yeah.
Thank you for watching and see